Hello everyone, welcome to KelsTells. I'm not going to be on here too long, to be honest. I just want to jump on and talk about my predictions with this whole COVID-19 thing going on and what people are going to do about intake for fall semester. From what I've seen, excuse me, had my charter. From what I've seen with what's going on with organizations right now is a lot of virtual meetings and virtual interactions with people, which is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's safe because, in my personal opinion, I don't think that COVID is going away this year, like at all. Businesses may be reopening and people may be coming outside and talking to each other, and some people are taking safety precautions and some people aren't. And for, I think, the safety of the majority of the people, make sure my comments are up. Hi. I think for the safety of the people that it's important to maintain social distancing and just keeping everyone safe. Now, what does that mean for intake? I'm not 100% sure. A lot of campuses are opening back up, especially college campuses. I don't know about people like children going back to school yet, but a lot of colleges are going to be open in the fall. And I don't know what that's going to mean for how they're going to do their social events. Because I was thinking the other day about things like homecoming and yard shows and how people are going to do those things. And I'm not 100% sure what the institutions are going to do in regards to those things. I don't know what they're going to do to maintain people's safeties if they're opening the campuses up altogether. I don't know what their safety precautions are going to be. I don't know how they're going to keep people safe. So for me, Joseph said, my girlfriend said that coronavirus can be spread through toenail clippings. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to talk about medical things because I don't have a healthcare background. But it does spread. And the fact that they're opening up campuses, I don't know how they're going to maintain people's safety while people are on campus. So if it were me, if I were part of the organizations, and it's not to say that anything I say is a reflection of the organizations, these are just my thoughts. I think that people should continue doing things virtually. I think organizations should have virtual meetings. And what was the question? Any advice for people interested in grad chapter that are having events virtually? How does that stand out? How does one stand out in that setting? I'll get to that. So with interest, I think that if you want to meet with someone or if you want to interact with the chapter virtually, your best bet, like I put in my previous COVID video, would be to send an email to message people your interest, which you should already be doing anyways. But I feel like because everything's going virtual now, your best bet would be to go virtual and to send an email, because we are now looking at our emails consistently to make sure we're not missing anything. And I do have some insight on my website, KelsTells.com, about how to send interest letters or how to send letters showing interest to organizations. So make sure you guys are checking that out. That should be posted this week. So make sure you look at that. But if you're already attending events virtually, which some people are, I think that it's important to, if the chapter has a social media page, to already be following them on social media. If they have an Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, make sure you're following them and take the time to send a personal message to introduce yourself. Because like I said, since we are virtual now, we're constantly on our social media making sure that we are still current and relevant. So if you guys are interacting with us via social media, that's a good way for us to recognize you when you attend virtual events. How the virtual events are going to go for interested members right now, I think that if grad chapters or if undergraduate chapters already have people that they were interested in, then they already have those people in mind to contact for these upcoming meetings, because now it's going to be even harder to physically interact with people because we can't hold gatherings of a specific number of people right now. So I believe if if you've already been making contact with organizations, then you're probably at the top of the list of people that they're going to reach out to make sure that they're maintaining communications with you. If you're brand new and you're interested in joining an organization, make sure that you're emailing them to express your interest so that they'll know, and then maintain communication through their social media. So when you have that virtual meeting that you're invited to, they'll already know your face and they'll already know who you are because you contacted them. With that said, a lot of people who, when they're interested in joining an organization, they will change their profile pictures on social media, or they'll make it like the default profile picture. Keep your pictures up for right now, because we need to know who we're talking to so that when we have virtual meetings, the name matches the face. We want to make sure we know who you are and that we recognize you when we talk to you in the virtual meetings. We want to make sure we have the right person. With your profiles right now, with social media and COVID going on, a lot of things that I'm noticing is a lot of people will remove entirely all of their photos on social media. It's good and it's bad, because I understand if you want to remove photos that are not necessarily a positive reflection of yourself. You want to make sure that you're definitely taking those videos down, because we are looking at those. But if you're taking down pictures that would help us get to know a little more about you, the positive pictures, then we also don't have anything to go on, which would then require you to provide us with more information about yourself, because we can't see it on your social media anymore. And by social media, I mean your Facebook, your Instagram, TikTok, all of those things. Anything that you are active on, better believe that someone from the organization is looking at it to see what kind of person you are. Because if you're one way on your Instagram and you're one way on your Facebook, we don't know who we're going to get in these meetings. So everything needs to be on the same page. Everything needs to be on the same level. You have the same personality for each of these platforms that you're on, so that we'll know exactly who we're talking to when we're talking to them. So I think that's important to maintain with interested members who want to join an organization. If you guys have any questions about that, just put it in chat. But moving on to people who were involved in intake before COVID, or in the middle of intake during COVID, and are now moving on to fall semester during COVID. Like I said, I do not have the foolproof answer for how this is going to go, but this is my prediction. I think if it hasn't already happened, some people have already been refunded their money for the organization. And the reason why I say they've been refunded, because in some cases, what probably happened is some people probably paid, some people probably already paid but didn't get their receipts, or they paid and decided that they didn't want to do it anymore and they were just going to wait. That's a good point as well. I think that it's important to make sure that you maintain contact with the organization that you are interested in during the summer, so that you'll know what's going to happen in the fall. If you haven't done that already, make sure that you're always maintaining contact with if you can't get in contact with your membership chair, get in contact with the graduate chapter that's involved with your undergrad. Hey, soror. And make sure that you know what's going on for the fall. Because if you're one of those people who are refunded, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Excuse me. If you were selected and you paid and you received a refund, you're still in the running to join that organization. Don't think that you've completely lost your chance, because they picked you, they wanted you. It's just that things happened and they had to come to a pause on what they were doing with your intake progress. So make sure that you contact your membership chair. If they don't know what's going on, contact your graduate chapter, because someone's going to have the answer, or someone's going to know how to point you in the right direction. So make sure you contact one of them so that you'll know where you stand in the fall, when they're going to start again, or what you need to do to prepare yourself for when they start again in the fall. Make sure that you are maintaining contact. If you're one of those people who paid and you're still waiting, still get in contact with the grad chapter, because you paid. That's money that you don't want to just give somebody. So make sure you know what's going on with that. You don't have to be aggressive with it. or anxious with it, because it's important to know where you stand and what's going on with your money. Basically, you don't want to give money away for free. So like I said, you can contact your undergrad chair or your membership chair for your chapter. Contact the grad chapter as a whole. If you're in grad chapter and you're in that process, I would assume that they are keeping you guys up to date. But if you haven't heard from someone in your graduate chapter, your chair, then try talking to your president and seeing what's going on, because it's very important to know where you stand and what's going on. With those of you who have already crossed your organization, I would assume that y'all have already come out virtually. Some people are waiting to come out in the fall because they still want that viewership. They still want that audience to physically see them. So some people are still waiting to come out in the fall because they didn't want to come out virtually, or they didn't want to come out on social media. So some people are doing that. But I think it's important for, if you were in the middle of your process, to reach out to your chairs and see what's going on. For people who are interested in intake who have not paid, they're in the process of, or they're seeking out membership and want to join, I think it's important for you to still maintain a active presence on campus. Like I said, I don't know how it's going to go with events being held. I don't know how they're going to do that quite yet. Maybe I'll do an updated video once I receive, or once I see, because no one's sending me this stuff, once I see how it's going online, because I believe with AGP, they postponed their picnic that was supposed to take place in June. They postponed it until July. So some people are postponing things. Cross into Alpha in March. If I could go back and if I could go back and have a fall neophyte presentation, I still don't think I would do it. I don't blame you. I do not blame you with that. I'm going to be a senior in the fall, so should I even try again, even though I hadn't gotten picked this year? This year, the chapter has a lot of seniors, and the girls who did get picked IDK if they crossed. The chapter is very small. If you think that you stand a chance, and I don't mean to say that in a condescending way, but if you don't think that the other people cross and you think you stand a chance, show your interest again. Get into it. Let them know that you're still interested, because like I said, we don't know what's going to happen in the fall yet. So they might be looking for new people in the midst to add to the people that they already have, to have a bigger line. So that's something to take into consideration. Continue showing interest and continue letting them know that you want to join. And even if you don't think that it's worth it right now because of everything that's going on, you can start your showing interest to graduate chapter right now too, because they love taking in seniors. They love new blood. So if you don't think that undergrad is an option for you, start looking into graduate chapter. How did you talk about how chapters that are already invited will handle COVID? Yes, you're fine. Go to the beginning of the video and you'll see my conversation about that. But I think that it's important for you, anyone, even though we're in a time where there is a lot of uncertainty, if you think that you want to join and you're really passionate about joining, it's still worth a try, I think. I think that everything is worth trying to see if you can do it, because you don't want to have any regrets in life. And this might be your only chance. If anything, this is another prediction. If anything, I think that organizations will work harder to recruit people because of the time that we're in. We can't physically reach you guys, so we're trying to interact as much as we can online to make sure that everyone is on the same page. I can personally say for my organization, we've been pretty great about communication. I literally know everything that they're doing because they're sending emails to everyone. Facts, yes, sir. They send those emails out, I don't even know, like 3 times a week or something, but Sigma Gamma Rho is constantly updating its members about what they're doing and what's going on. So kudos to my organization. I don't know anyone else's organizations that are doing that. If that's the case, then kudos to you guys too. But we are so in the know right now, and it's very comforting to know, because like I said, these are unsure times. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going to happen in the fall. And I'm not going to say that. But right now, we're in the summertime, it's COVID. So imagine when fall comes, when it's cold outside again, imagine what they're going to do then. Like, states were literally shut down for months at a time. Some countries are still shut down right now. So there's a lot of uncertainty about what's going on in the world. So organizations are not at the top of people's priorities right now, but still it's something that people want to do. And I think it's still worth pursuing. What was said? I agree and I disagree. I think that if you... I have to agree and disagree with that, MD. Make sure I say your name correctly. My phone slipped. Sorry, I'm not going to spend too much time trying to find that, but you know who you are. I agree and disagree because I feel like if it's worth your time, and maybe it's just from my experience with grad chapter. I feel like grad chapter is more, not necessarily aggressive, but they're more miles. Thank you. I think that they're more aggressive towards new people, recruiting them straight out of college because they want new people. They want younger generations. This is based off of my experience. And my experience with grad chapter is I had a lot of older members that were part of graduate chapter. And when I joined, I think I joined at 23. By joined, I mean transferred from undergrad to graduate chapter because I crossed in undergrad. So it took a younger person with a newer perspective to tell them, hey, we don't need to wait for people who are older to join. We can recruit people as young as when they come out of undergrad to provide new perspectives. So some organizations will allow you to join as soon as you graduate. My organization will actually allow people to join grad chapter as regional members. And by regional members, I mean people who do not have that chapter on their campus. So we'll recruit undergrads who don't have a chapter on their campus, and then when they graduate, they'll become a part of the graduate chapter. They'll just transfer over. So it depends on your situation with when you want to join a particular organization. I have a lot of videos talking about both scenarios. I have a lot of perspectives on those from other people who have joined undergrad versus graduate chapter that I put videos out. There are playlists on my channel if anyone wants to check out the difference between joining an undergrad versus joining a graduate chapter. But I think it depends on your situation, to say the least. Any other questions? Those are basically my predictions of what's going to happen in the fall. I'm really curious to see how the campuses are going to do events and stuff because, like I said, I'm concerned about homecoming. I want it to go. And I don't feel inclined to go anywhere with COVID right now. So I don't know how they're going to do that. I'm very, very interested in how they're going to do undergrad or how they're going to do social events with COVID going on right now. That'll be very interesting to see, cold weather and all. But does anyone have any questions for me? I will wait. There's a lot of stuff going on outside. People are putting up fences and everything. My campus is going to reopen for the fall, but Alpha might not have intake because of COVID. I've heard that too, which would really suck. They might wait until the spring. I got a D plus this semester after a misunderstanding with my professor, and it hurts my GPAs not as high as others being a transfer. Is there any way I can explain this? Being 100% honest, we're going to look at your GPA, and if it doesn't match the GPA, an explanation isn't going to fix your GPA. It's harsh, but it's the truth. That's the first thing that organizations will look at when they look at your application, or not even your application, because you have to have the GPA in order to get the application. When you do informal, if they ask for your GPA and your GPA is not what it should be, they're going to look at what's printed on paper. So if you don't have the minimum GPA required, they're not going to accept you to move forward. With undergrad, some organizations will take you in after you've transferred or after you've completed 12 hours at your host institution that you want to join at. So if that GPA from the host institution isn't what they're looking for, then they're not going to move forward with your application. Just joined. Did you say something? Yes, I did. Scroll back to the beginning. Any other questions for me? No, GPAs are non-negotiable. You are correct. How do I get volunteer hours with social distancing? Great question. I've gotten this question a lot. I was going to do a video on it, but let's talk about it. I think that there are other things that you can do besides volunteering right now. There are some people that are doing food drives and food banks. So if you have food that you can drop off, that's considered volunteer hours. The way you can calculate that is, I would say that it would be 30 minutes per 5 cans or something like that. Or if you just want to use the amount of things that you donated as community service, we can accept that as well. Given the time that we're in, we're accepting other forms of volunteering at this point. So you can do food banks and food drives. You can feed people. Those count as physical hours. Donations count as physical hours. So if you donate money or donate food, that could count. Money, you can just give them a numerical amount of how much you donated if you want. Or what we used to do in undergrad was every $2 to $5, depending on what it was, that would equal an hour of community service or 30 minutes of community service. So things like that. That's what I recommend doing for those who want to volunteer during COVID and they want their volunteering to count. You can just state the things that you've done as forms of volunteering, and we won't necessarily count the hours because some hours can't be counted, like donating food and cans and doing deliveries. If you do deliveries, you can count that as the hours you spent doing that. But things like that will count for community service for us right now. There's another question. My academic advisor is the undergrad advisor for the chapter. We're pretty close. Should I ask her help with grad? Yes, ask her. I'm sure she'll be more than happy to facilitate with that. How do you do it? Send her an email, or if you know her via social media or Facebook, send her a message, or if you have a phone number, text her. You can send her a text message and ask her, tell her that you have some questions about grad chapter and can you pick her brain about it, and she'll either tell you yes or no, but most likely she'll tell you yeah, because we're trying to recruit people. Any other questions? Is having 39 credits going into my second semester of college a lot? Sorry, I hit something. With joining an undergrad, it depends on the organization that you're joining, but I believe, well, I know for a fact that my organization will take as early as second semester freshmen. So second semester freshman would be someone who has anywhere between, oh gosh, I forget how it goes. Was it 12 hours a semester now? 12 to 15 hours. So you have 24 to 30 hours. You're eligible to be a part of my organization. So if you have 39 credits, then you're good. I believe that's more than enough for the organization that you want to join at the time that you want to join. There's another question. Are there a lot of virtual efforts to raise? Oh, thank you, April. There are a lot of virtual efforts to raise money for communities in need and essential workers. Thank you. So that is a form of community service as well as making donations. Do you think there will be a new MIP process for the fall, like new interest meetings and rushes? The chapter I was trying to join had a rush and they picked a line, and next week they had to stop the process. It depends on that chapter, to be honest with you. Like I said, skip back a little bit. I mentioned that some organizations are going to combine their intake people from spring with whoever they're going to do in the fall. So you might have an opportunity to pursue interest in the fall if that's something that they're going to do. But you need to check with the organization. If you're unsure, you can send them an interest email. I'm going to post some templates on my website at KelsTells.com this week, possibly this Wednesday. So check that out if you need any inspiration on how to send an email. Belinda, transfer students that are online, how do they show interest? So if you're a transfer student, the first thing you need to make sure is that you have the minimum hours required to join at your host institution. I mentioned earlier, we require minimum hours as transfer students as well as students who are already at the institution. So check that first. And then if you want to show interest in joining, the next thing that I would check would be what is that organization's policies on online students, because some organizations will say that they just require a certain number of credits and they don't mention what the requirements are for a transfer student. So that might be something that you have to inquire about for that chapter or for that organization. I would inquire first with the organization because they'll be the ones that can provide the most correct information for you. The chapter may be unaware and provide, I don't want to say they're going to tell you the wrong thing, but it happens. So if you want correct information, then I would recommend checking with the organization itself on what their policy is for transfer students. For some organizations, they will accept online students, but you have to check the requirements of that organization first. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing because every organization is different. I know my organization will accept online students, but Delta or AKA or Zetas might not. Last call, any questions? I know you have a video on this, but I wanted to know if anything changed. What makes you love your organization above all others, especially how they're dealing with COVID? Oh, that's a good question. Like I said, I crossed my organization in 2012. If you guys didn't know, I think this year makes 8 years. And I love personally how every person I interact with, I don't know that they're a Sigma until they tell me that they're a Sigma. For me, I feel like being a part of an organization isn't the most important thing in my life. I don't have to rep my letters for people to know that I'm an SG Row. So when I go out of town and I meet a random person and they're really, really cool, turns out they're an SG Row. So I love that there are different personalities in my organization to the point where I don't know that I'm talking to a soror until she notices that I'm a soror. I feel like my organization, and it might not be the case for everyone else, I'm just speaking for me. I feel like with my organization, I'm really comfortable with the people that are in my organization no matter what. We've had conflicts because it's a sisterhood, but everyone that I come across treat me like I'm their sister and will do anything they can to help me. And I absolutely love that. In all stages of my life, I've never come across a soror that didn't want to offer genuine help or genuine advice to help me be more empowered and empower others. That was a great question. Let's see. How early is too early to get your recommendation letters during COVID? Basically the question. I think you can ask at the beginning of your semester, given what's going on right now. What I would recommend doing with your recommendation letters would be asking them not to date it, to ask them to leave the date blank, just so you'll have the letter prepared and you can add the date when necessary. Best way to do that would be to have them to send it as a Google Doc or a Word document so that you can just plug it in. If they're comfortable with you reading their recommendation letter, of course, if they're not, then they'd have to date it in order to send it to you. If people actually do that, because some people might not date their letters. I can't tell you what recommenders would do, but if you want to do it that way, you can ask them to send it to you via Google Doc or a Word document so that you can add the date and print it when it's time for you to print it. And then have it that way. You're welcome. You're welcome. Last call. Any questions? I'm trying to keep this down to 30 minutes because I don't want to hold you guys up. It is Memorial Weekend. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me on this Sunday afternoon. Last call. Any questions? Give it 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2. Will you save this live? Yes, I will. I save all my live videos. If you don't see it on my feed, I believe there's a section on YouTube that has my live videos. If not, I'll create a playlist for you guys to see it. But if there are no more questions, let me double check, make sure I didn't miss anybody. I think I did pretty good this time. I did. Thank you for all this in your videos about these topics. Yo, you're welcome. I enjoy them. If you guys ever have any questions that I have not answered on my channel, no lie, you guys, I think I have like 400 videos on YouTube. If you look through all those videos and there's not a question answered, please message me so that I can answer your questions, because it might be a question that someone else has and they just didn't feel comfortable putting it out there. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I hope that you guys enjoyed this live video. I hope y'all are all safe and well. Stay blessed. I love you guys. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. And I'll see you guys the next time I do a live or on my next video. If you're not following me on Instagram, please follow me. If you're looking on my YouTube, if you never followed my channel and you were talking to me, y'all better hit that subscribe button. You better hit that button. I mean it. Hit the button. Help me out. Subscribe. I hope that you guys are well. I love you guys, and you guys be safe. And I'll see you guys in my next chat. Bye.